I'm here with my friend Bebe, and in this video we're going to go over some tips that you can use if you have a dog that's overexcited on walks. Now Bebe's main problem here is she is dog reactive, probably because she wasn't socialized around other puppies when she was young. Really, you need to get your puppy around a lot of other puppies, and it has to be puppies, not adult dogs, when they're young, and especially under 4 months to have good play dates. Now if they don't get them, a lot of dogs will act what we perceive as aggressive, because they're lunging, snarling, snapping, barking to make the other dogs go away. And so she's quivering. I think she's so worked up because normally her mom does a lot of things we're going to talk about in this video that get her a little bit worked up. And I think she's just struggling right now because this is different than what she normally does. So basically, a lot of times when we want to take our dogs for a walk, we ask them, "Hey, Bebe, you want to go for a walk? You want to go walkie? You want to go walkie? And we do this because you see the arousal that we get there. A lot of times they open their mouths, and we see that as a smile, when they're really opening their mouth just to let liquid evaporate off their tongue to cool themselves down. So you see how excited she is now. When we have things that we need to do that are important, we don't get ourselves all worked up. We want to be calm, quiet, and analytical and be able to focus on whatever it is. So when we see dogs' mouths go open, we see a smile. We say, "Oh, Bebe, you want to go for a walkie? You want to go walkie? And then we wonder why they can't listen. She gets usually so excited, she's biting the leash and almost screaming. So first thing we're going to do is we're not going to say anything. And I'm going to recreate this in a second. Now, the leash is kept right where she is right now. That's why she's waiting there. She's lingering. She's been conditioned. She knows that's where the leash is. So what I'd recommend the guardian do, and I'm not going to show this now, but like 10 times a day or more, go over to where the leash is. Don't say a word about it. She'll recognize, you see where she is now. She knows where it is. So walk over to it, tell her to sit, open up the door, and as soon as she starts getting excited, put it back and go sit back down. Doing this at a time, you see how she's breathing heavy. Yeah, do. If doing this at a time when you're not planning on taking her out for a walk will help her desensitize her to that trigger, that excitement. But you see right now, I just simply said it a couple times, and it's been about 60 seconds, and see how worked up she is. And I'm not her mom. I'm a stranger who hasn't come in here before who said it once. So imagine this being tenfold if mom says it. So what I'm going to do is, if I want to do this, I'm not going to say, "Do you want to go for a WNL cup?" I'm just going to go over here. Sit. 3 seconds. If she doesn't sit in 3 seconds, I'm going to walk away and sit down on the couch. I'm not going to do it right now. I'm just going to explain what's going on. But I want you, if your dog is overexcited, to just simply walk away and sit down on the couch. And for Bebe, she's just like, "Why are we not going?" So where did she go? She went out way to the door, because this is where you also go when we're taken outside. Bebe! So I'm going to have you step towards the TV, and I'm just going to come and sit where you normally do.
Keep filming?
Keep filming. Yeah, just back up.
Okay.
Bebe! Come here, Bebe!
Sorry, that was terrible.
Bebe, no, it's okay. Sit. Yes. So yeah, I'm just going to sit. This is where the guardian normally sits, and just sit down and watch some TV. And the guardian should do this when she's not planning on taking Bebe out at all. So Bebe is going to be worked up like this at first for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes before she finally plops out. She'll probably sleep over there. Wait for her to completely disengage, get completely calm before you repeat this. As you go through this process, you're going to be able to do the steps faster and closer together without such a big break in between. But the first couple times we have to do, look at that beautiful Frenchie smile she's got over there, is we're going to have to help her. This is classical conditioning. I pick up the leash, she gets excited. So I'm proving to her, but I'm not. I'm just going to lay back, and you can enjoy the beautiful view that the guardians have back here. And so we're going to wait for her to disengage. When she's disengaged, she's not now, but we'll pretend she is. I'm going to walk back over here. Sit. So you're going to keep doing this until when she goes over there and sits, she actually does sit. At that point, you'd say yes, and then you would give her a treat or a pet, and then start the process of opening the drawer. Now, we think of opening the drawer as one step. Excuse me, Bebe. It can be multiple steps. Bebe, I'm going to lure her to a sit because she didn't before. Sit. Yes. So now she's in a sit. Now watch her as she sees what I'm doing. Got up. She anticipating that we're going to open the door and we're going on an adventure. Bebe, sit. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to reach a little bit, pull back. Yes. What am I marking? I'm marking her not getting up. Bebe, sit. They say don't work with animals or children in the movies. I'll explain a little bit because she's so excited. This is not something that makes for great video footage, but I want to explain all the steps. So first, what I would do when she sits, then that sitting gives me license to continue the process. Not sitting means we stop. Not sitting means I'm so excited I can't control myself. Any further that you go on when your dog can't do the most basic thing and sit is your dog's communicating to you, I'm going to listen less and less as we go further away. The Guardian says that normally when she pulls the leash out, she's biting it. She's in a frenzy in the elevator. By the time she gets out, she's zooming all over the place and she can't listen. So we're going to cause her to slow down by stopping the instant she starts so excited. So I use the sit as a bit of a litmus test. So let's say I got her to sit here. She sits, I put maybe halfway towards the handle, pull back, say yes, I'm marking her not getting up, give her a treat. Maybe I do that 2 or 3 times. Then I reach 75% of the way, pull back, give her a treat. If she stays seated, if she gets up, I ask her to sit again. If she sits, I say yes, and at this point I reward with a pet, not with a treat. Otherwise she gets the same reward for sitting or not sitting. But I want to make sure I do reward her for sitting. And if she doesn't sit, then I will walk and sit back down on the couch and just relax and enjoy. When she finally does sit, then and stays in a sit, then I reach for 50%, then eventually 75%, then to 100%. Eventually I open it a little bit, close it, and I'm giving her a treat after each one of these things. So I'm giving her the motivation, instead of the motivation being the leash coming out, going on adventure, doing as fast as we can, the motivation is just sitting here. And David does a little bit more criteria, a little bit more. Eventually it's opening this much. Eventually we're picking up the leash. Sit. So excited I can't sit. Not going to listen to you if we go any further. So I just put it back away, close door, and I go and sit back down. So the beauty of this exercise, you should practice this when you are not planning on taking your dog out for a walk. So that way, it takes away your funk of you being like, I only have 20 minutes, why don't you listen? She's too aroused to listen. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and muddle forward even though she's not there now because I want to show you the same steps at the next door and at the elevator. So you see she's a little bit trying to bite at it. If your dog's biting a leash, it can mean that they're trying to get free or that they want more freedom. I think in her case, it's kind of an oral fixation for her. It's pacifying her. All right, so what we'll do now is I'm going to have the camera follow us, keep filming. I'm going to go all the way over here to the door. I'll stay on the shot so it's interesting. Beautiful place.
Oh, well, thank you.
My clients here were, she's looking for the light switch. There you go. The clients here, unfortunately, were displaced by the Palisades fire. So now they're relocated to kind of in mid-Wilshire. All right, now if I want to get her to disengage, also another indicator. Dog doesn't want to take a treat that you know they don't really like. You know they're overly aroused or fearful. Sit. Sit. I can't listen here either. Now, here's a little trick for this. What I would do is, independent of her leash, independent of the harness, walk over here with a treat, sit. As she sits, say yes and give her the treat. If she doesn't, walk away. Either way, if she sits, you say yes and give her a treat and walk away. If she doesn't, you just walk away without saying yes. And then come back and keep on practicing this. So when you come over here, you say sit. It's easier for her to sit. Matter of fact, if you do it enough, you come over here, she should just automatically sit down. Now when she's seated, I'm the same thing. I'm going to reach halfway for the handle, pull my arm back, then give her a treat if she sits. Let's get you into a sit. But see how she's giving me cutoff signals there. See how I was putting the treat in her face? She was looking around. I don't care about your treat. I don't want that. I want to go outside. So, but if we go outside, she's going to listen less. So what I want to do is I want to make opening this door to as many steps that are small as I need to for her to be successful. So I'm going to basically reach halfway, then 3/4 way, then this, then eventually touch a little bit. See that little movement caused her to get more excited. And at any point she gets up, I ask her to sit once. She has 3 seconds to sit. If she sits, I mark and reward again with the pet, and then I continue the process. If she doesn't, in 3 seconds, I walk away. And that's why, again, you want to do this process when you're not actually planning to go for a walk, because you don't take out your umph that you're not going. Now, eventually, watch. If you watch her right here, that's a trigger as well. Now, I can desensitize it just by doing this. I don't like doing that. I like to counter condition. So I like to tell her to sit. She sits. I do that. And then if she stays seated, I give her a treat. So now this moving isn't a precipitator or a precedent for the door opening. This moving means I'm about to get a treat if I stay seated. Sitting is an element of relaxation. So if the dog's able to stay and sit, and we're proving to her, we're not going out the door, we're not opening the door, because we're not even putting the harness on, we're not even pulling the leash out, we're not even opening the door where that is before we even get here. So this will be multiple practice sessions. Now when I eventually get her outside here, I want to be able to get to the point where I can, and I would have her sit there, but you want to get to the point where you can open this door all the way, and she's waiting there. She's not running out. And it'll take time. We're going to practice this off camera when the guardian's done filming this. But eventually, then the dog learns, I'm just going to sit there. Now, right now, she can't do it because she's classical conditioned with this harness and leash means guarantee we're going for an adventure. So what we're going to do when we finish filming this, I'm going to take all this stuff off. We're going to sit down wait for a couple minutes for her to calm down. We might actually do this after we come back for a little walk. And then we're going to practice that exercise when she's not excited. So having her come over and sit without putting the leash and harness on her and not open the door just helps her practice, this is what I want her to do. When it comes to dogs, most of us don't actually teach our dog what we want them to do. We just assume that they should do what we're doing, and then we move forward. And when they don't do it, we get mad at them. Stopping and breaking one step lesson into 8, 12, 16, however many steps you need, and practicing step 1 over and over, and not going to step 2 till the dog's successful consistently with step 1. Teaches your dog, this is the behavior I want you to exhibit. When I open the door, my behavior I expect from you is to stay seated. When I open the door, the behavior I expect you to do is to sit there. They're not going to do it for no reason because right now the fun is going through the door. Well, now we're making the fun just sitting here and then you get a treat. So same thing when you get to the elevator. So this is going to be a process where first you're not even going to leash her up, then you're going to harness her up, then you're going to put her leash, then you're going to come over here and do this door opening and get to the point where you can open the door all the way with her staying seated and nothing blocking her, no tension on the leash. Then you would go out and I would do the same thing at the elevator. Now the elevator, you're basically getting her ready for the elevator. And if somebody comes to the elevator and they open the door and they're there with the dog especially, I would, maybe pull her off to the side. She gets reactive to dogs. Or maybe if I would, actually better yet, I would ring the elevator door, and let's say these elevator doors, be as far back away from the elevator as you can. So you're increasing the distance, making her less likely to react. If somebody is in there with the dog, say, oh, sorry, my dog's a little reactive, we'll catch the next one. They close the door. Now, while she's doing that, you might give her a treat if she's not reacting to the dog. We're going to talk off camera about how to deal with dogs that are reactive. I don't want to cover too many things in this one video. But basically, eventually, you want to get to the point where you're going to go ding, the door's open, she sits there, she's seated, and then maybe you walk in the elevator, turn around and walk back out, and let the elevator go down. So now she's getting used to going into the elevator, but not going down the lobby, not getting off. So again, what we're helping her do is achieve calm. Now this is a longer video than I want, so I'm going to kind of summarize it real quick here, and we'll talk about some stuff off camera. But the idea is to set your dog up for success. Don't move on to the next step until your dog is successful. And if the step you're on is too hard, break it into 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps. We were talking about the guardian of the smartest dog in the world named Chaser, and her guardian's name coined something called errorless learning. Errorless learning means we create a scenario where it's so easy that the dog can't help but to be successful. And we don't move on to the next step until the dog is successful repeatedly. And then we link all of these things together. And eventually the dog comes and sits at the door when you put the leash on. Sits while you put the harness on. Sits while you put the leash on. Sits over here. As the door opens, walks to the elevator, sits there. By the time you get in the elevator, she's relaxed because it's much ado about nothing. We've done this over and over. Right now, everything is a race. Every step goes faster and faster and more kinetic until by the time she gets in the elevator, she is a tornado waiting to happen. And then the dog comes in, she's reactive, and it's just an epiphany and explosion. So by practicing systematically and not going to the next step, eventually she learns to be calmer. She's not calm now, but let's see if we can get her to do a sit. Yes, calmer than she was before. Not as calm as we want, but that's an indication she's calm enough to do it. Well, this is my buddy Bebe, and this is some tips and tricks that you can use if you have a dog that's overexcited for walks.